Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Tom. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This video goes out to anybody who watches it, and especially to the people that I influence, especially our churches. Anyway, today is about September 29th of 2021, and yesterday. I got up in the morning and immediately the Lord began to talk to me about doing what I'm doing, and I began to write down some of the things He shared with me, and it really started out as this. It says from October 2021, from the 1st of October to the 1st of the new year of 2022 are going to be some of the most important months in history. Actually, I believe maybe the most important months in history as far as our world is concerned and as far as America is concerned right now. We as a church must push things through. It's time for us to push things through. We're seeing a lot of spiritual warfare and battles going on in politics and in our nation and this thing and that thing. We're making a lot of progress. There's a lot of good things happening, but it's time to push things through. And so He encouraged me to call my congregation and those I influence, if they feel led of the Spirit, to do special fasting and prayer for these particular months, especially the month of October, because as we all know, the month of October is a satanic month for satanic things that are trying to take place to push their agenda through. And I believe it's very important that we do this year. And the first thing he pointed out to me was for us to all push to pray about the election fraud results to be exposed, brought out clearly for all to see. That's happening as I'm talking to you right now. More and more of this will be brought out, I believe, as they do more audits. But the main thing is it has to get to the people who tend not to believe these things, the ones that are, still thinking that somehow the elections were not fraudulent. That's just not true, and it's been proven over and over already. But as more information comes out, it'll enlighten people's minds. But we have to pray. We have to take authority over that darkness. So that's an important thing to pray about right now. The second thing is for patriots or good folks to demand decertification of the stolen election state by state. I believe in Arizona they need to demand that, and I think they're going to need to do it in Georgia and Wisconsin and places like that. So once the fraud comes out, we need to demand that they decertify that election and maybe have another election or whatever, however they're going to handle that. But it's going to take some prayer, and it's going to take some fasting, and it's going to take some of us getting involved to get this happening. But we have to attack right now on that front. The next thing is we need to pray for a removal of all politicians who won by stealing. In other words, if the election was truly stolen and was proven to be that's the case, they need to be removed. There's going to be some people, I'm sure, they're going to say, "Well, it's already happened. Let's just leave." No, they need to be removed and they need to be punished, especially if they're involved in it somehow. But even if they weren't involved in it somehow, they still need to be removed. And then there needs to be another election or something that is fair. Our election system, we need to pray that they can come up with a solution that is so that even the midterms cannot be stolen anymore, that it can be safe and fair for everybody, done properly and done right. That needs to be a major prayer for us, especially in America, because it's happening around the world too. And we're going to find out more about how they have done this. So praying and acting on this is very important. I think that the main thing here is that we don't give up, and that patriot voices continue to rise louder if they're not listening. And even if it means that we have to, go to Washington, D.C. and circle it for a month or two down there every day to, get our point across, whatever. I'm not talking about people doing violent things. I'm just talking about getting more involved and in, getting in the face of the people who will not listen because they have an agenda. So they need to be removed. So we need a removal of all politicians who won by stealing, a reestablishing of those who truly won, or at least a new election if possible. And I believe if they truly won, the other person should be reestablished unless maybe something happens where they don't want to be, and then there needs to be another election or something. Now, this is just not on the national level. This is on the local government level also. So, exposure and arrest of all involved in shenanigans needs to happen. We need to pray for that in these elections. They be exposed, they be caught. That will be many, many, many whistleblowers that come up, thousands of whistleblowers who will decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and come clean. Many of them will cut a deal or whatever it is. And that needs to happen just on a massive amount, because people are going to need, some people are going to need that to change their minds. All right. So we pray for thousands of whistleblowers to come forth. The next thing is for our borders to be dealt with. That is very important. We need to have whatever's happening by all these people coming in out of Afghanistan and from the borders. This needs to stop. They need to be vented. They need to be deported, many of them. We need to pray over that. Need to pray that the wall goes up and that we get back to the way it was before. I'm all for people coming in. My wife certainly came in from Panama years ago, and we had to jump through every hoop. But you know what? Doing it right and legally is fine. But this kind of stuff has to stop now in our nation, because if it don't, I believe a lot of the coronavirus problem is that. Them, they're bringing in people like that have the coronavirus and it spreads. So also for all sex slavery and profit that's coming in from the borders to be stopped, sex slavery, pedophilism, and all that exposed in all quarters. We need to really fast and pray over this. It's being caught. They're being caught almost every day, but we need a massive exposure of who's involved, how it happens, what's going on, all that. So that's important, and for them to be brought to justice. And we need some elite of the elitist people that, for whatever reason, believe that they're above the law. They can get away with anything. They've done it for years. And so their thinking is it doesn't matter what people think or do or what we get caught doing. With lawyers, with money, we can always, with threats, we can always get away with it. There needs to be a mighty breakthrough on some of these people actually getting caught and actually going to jail or prison or worse. And it needs to be like a domino effect. And we need to pray that through. So the elitist deep state to be exposed, arrested, punished for all that they do. And now the Durham report to come out in all of its glory, and for that to cause a rippling effect in those that have done wrong with all of that, and the Russian collusion and all that silly stuff. And also for an exposure of the bad military, FBI, CIA, to be exposed and rooted out. That is very important right now. We got a lot of bad military. It's very apparent. We've got people running the military, some of them that are evil. We've got a lot of good people that are running in the military also, other side of things. But there needs to be a purging of the CIA, the FBI, and of the bad military, as well as the bad politics and bad politicians. Now, here's another thing right now we need to really pray and push through is for all these viruses. They got a name for everything now, to be crushed supernaturally, because it's very apparent man could do anything. They try to do everything they can. It just falls short. We need a supernatural healing, and we need a crushing and a purification of these viruses, a stopping of the viruses, and for exposure of how that all happened and who was behind it to come forth. Also, we need all this mass mandate silly stuff to be dealt with, the school boards to be rooted out. The people that are behind a lot of this are evil people with an agenda, and they need to be removed. They need to be rooted out. Wrong teachers, wrong principals, wrong public school system to be rearranged, and people to be put in there that do not have that agenda, but just have an agenda to educate our kids properly. All this woke stuff to be dismantled and completely rooted out of our society. I'm serious about this. We have authority. We can get this done right now if we just go to prayer. For Christians and more patriots to vote, as our voting system has changed back to where it's safe to vote, we need to vote. And for millions of Christians and patriots to run and take over offices, if they are, in a position to do that, or they're in a position to where they can handle that job, we need to have thousands of these, a turnover in that, and the judicial system also. So we need to pray for a removal of the bad actors in the judicial system, however that needs to take place, and then inserting good constitutional lawyers and judges. Right now, we need to push that through. We need to really pray it through. We need to bind these satanic schemes that are going to try to be manifest in October. No weapon formed against us will be prosper. We need to pray for a economic restart, and for our system to be healed, for social media to be exposed, other media to take over, for banks to be exposed, and for us to go back on the gold standard, and for fair loaning practices and stuff to be instigated so that people are not ripped off, possibly even, a jubilee, a forgiveness of debt across for all of the damage these big banks have done to the regular people out here for years and years and years of abuse concerning bad loans, too much interest, all that kind of stuff, taxing the wrong way, taxing everything, and a complete revamping of our government, I believe, is coming. So we need to pray for President Trump. We need to pray for all the white hats. We need to pray for white hats are the good guys. Massive arrests and justice for the black hats, the bad guys. Purging, cleansing of media, a raising up of good media, the waking up of the Z generation and the millennials, revival to come to our churches, harvest to the church of those people and others, all Christians taking their place, finding their place. Stop just in the four walls of the church. We need to all get out also and get involved some way in these things. All right, as much as we possibly can. We need to take our places in prayer. We also need to pray for an exposure in big pharma. All the things that they've done, the people need to be held accountable. They've been withholding a lot of cures that we should have already had. I pray that'll come forth when all this comes down. We need to come against suicide because of the depression, mass depression of people, especially in the blue states. I live in Wisconsin. We are not a blue state. We are now a red state, I believe. And, so our legislature has held off a lot of that. But if you live in some of these, California, New York, it's got to be difficult, especially in cities. People are still, pushed down. And even overseas, we need to pray for this to come to an end. All this stuff. And let's come against anything that may be some people are saying, well, there's junk in the vaccines, and it's dangerous. Take them. You know what? Fine. And they're saying that there's chemicals on our food, that the same stuff is being put in our food, so we can all be vaccinated without knowing it. But you know what? If that's true, what we're going to have to do is stop just breeding fear in people. As believers, what we need to do is say, even if somebody has received a vaccination, in Jesus' name, the power of God's going to go into operation, and whatever that is will stop, and no weapon formed against us will prosper. We have that authority. We have Psalms 91. So let's start talking that way. Let's not feed fear into people. Let's feed them faith. I see a lot of people sending videos and stuff that breed fear in people about stuff. A lot of people, a lot of really good people have already been vaccinated. So what about them? Are they doomed? Well, the truth of the matter is no. We can pray, change that around. So here we go. Exposure of the weather. I think government, bad government people have been working for years to learn how to cause bad weather. All that to come out for the Illuminati, the deep state, the cabal to have to go underground. Okay, and they're never going to leave, because there's going to be an element of that brings in the Antichrist, but not yet. And another thing too, I want to caution all Christians right now to stop sending videos to each other or whatever that are talking about the end of the world, that this is it and the rapture is going to happen. We're in the tribulation period. I want to caution you from doing that, because that just breeds a lot of fear. And Jesus said it this way: when he comes back, he's going to find faith on the earth. No, it's not the tribulation time. No, it's not even. I don't believe we're not even. I believe probably, unless I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but we probably have 100 and something years before the rapture. We've got so many people in this planet right now that need to be harvested. There's never been a time like this. So we pray for that, that the Illuminati has to go underground, that good churches grow, that bad churches don't, and that many of them shut down, and that's a good thing. And we need debt cancellation and blessing for God's people. And I pray that we'll pray these things every day, and we'll also pray in the Spirit for our nation. And again, in October, November, and December especially, as we head to the first of the year, I believe these are the months where things are going to begin to really ramp up and change. We've been hearing it's going to happen here, and it's starting to happen big time now. Every day it seems like something else is happening that's a positive, and there's also the negative. It's a big clash, but we as the believers have authority to push it through. So I want to encourage you to do that. Take the time, fast. Now here's the thing about fasting. Notice some people, maybe they can't fast because of health problems. Well, if that's the case, then you don't fast food. Maybe you fast, television, or take more time to pray, whatever you can do. Some people might want to do a long fast, water fast, 40-day fast, 30-day fast, juice fast, different kinds of fasts. You might want to skip a meal every day, or skip 2 meals, only eat 1, that type of thing. But whatever you choose to do, or however you're led, what will do, the humility and the prayer, and your spirit man will become alive with the power, and charged by the power of God to pray out God's perfect will into the earth. And last thing I want to share with you is how important it is to pray in tongues, pray in the Spirit right now like never before. We've got to have millions of Christians begin to do that, and that will cause a exposure and pulling down and binding of enemies like never before, a release of God's power, a release of God's angels, and things are going to turn in Jesus' name. Love you guys. And share this. That's another thing. Share this with whoever you think needs to hear it. God bless you. We love you.